Hello, welcome to video 12. Change a running ladder diagram routine. All right. The other name, you may heard people talk about online edit. Right. So that's an easy name for you to understand. All right. So first need to be over here. Use extreme caution when you doing the online edit. Right. Because when the online edit lets you to change your logic while your machine or process continue to run, right? So you change the modification of your program will take effect immediately, right? That could potentially have the personal or equipment damage, right? So that's something you need to keep in mind when you are doing the online edit, right? So you may ask, okay, so if it's dangerous, why bother? Why do I have the online edit, right? So we can keep using the old good way uh, to do the offline editing and then download, right? So that's basically what I have been showing you so far, right? You added uh, program offline, then you download to the PLC controller, right? Um, first reason, obviously, faster, right? Online edit is really faster than the uh, go offline, then make changes and re-download, right? You can see every time download like take a very long time, right? And also the network speed and also everything will take effect, right? So that's one reason. The other probably most important reason, more important reason is that in some situation, online edit is your only choice. Right, I'll tell you what I mean. Right, so in some situation, your machine or process is in the middle of your sequence. Right, so for example, you have maybe 5 sequence or maybe even 25, 27 sequence to finish a manufacturing process. Right in the middle of your process, for example, on step 3, right, your program, your logic or your equipment ran into problem. But remember, you already finished the previous steps, right? And for example, if you're on step 3, that means you already have 2 steps already finished in the process. Then if you use the offline edit, make change, do whatever you necessary to do, then when you re-download, your PLC gonna start from the fresh, from the beginning. But your process has been processed, has been completed by 2 steps. Right? In some situation, this is not uh, not doable. It's not feasible. You cannot restart the process from the beginning, right? And in that situation, that is what I mean, right? So perhaps the online edit is your only choice. So you need to get online with your PLC controller, look at what's going on with the logic, make necessary change, and let the logic take effect immediately, continue to run to finish. All right. So that is why we need to talk about this, why you need to learn and then practice in the lab. So how do you start online edit? At least there are 2 ways, right? First one, you can select the wrong number and click this icon. This is online edit. You start a edit, right? You can see the green bar, right? So that means you are online. You start online. Or when you double click, if you double click a wrong number, you immediately have 2 identical copies. So you can see here what I'm showing you on this picture, you have 2 identical copies of the same run. The only difference, one run has the green bar, means it's running. The other one, it, it doesn't have the green bar highlight on here. And also you can see here, it has letter lowercase I, and this one has lowercase r. I will explain what that means. All right. So this is how do you start the online edit. Then because it's dangerous, right? So the Rockwell gave you a step by step approach. So to let you to go one step at a time to test, to check, right? You can even roll back if you don't like the change on your program, right? So there are 5 steps. First, you can start, right? You know already start, right? So with regarding these 5 steps, if you take a moment, think about I talked about before about the concept of download, upload, and also the offline, most important offline and online, right? The 2 copies of the file, right? One is on the PLC, the other one is your computer. It's related to that, all right? So that will definitely help you to understand these 5 steps. So with start edit step, the change only exists on your computer, right? So even though you are online, but whatever you change only exists on the computer. All right. So verify, that means it's like you already know that, right? So check the syntax errors for that, right? Then the next step, accept. So when you go into the accept step, right? So you can have a control to go to next step and next step, right? When you get to the step 3, the changed program is transferred to the controller, but the previous program continues to execute. So take a moment, look at this part, all right, look at it. So the first half of the sentence, that means program is being transferred. That means transfer, that means you already download, even though you didn't specifically click download, but your program has been transferred to the PLC controller. But it's not taking effect, right? So the old copy is still running. That's on the step 3. And on step 4, once you from step 3, go to step 4, then the new program will be executed and control the physical output, right? That's why it called test, right? And then you can see the result. If you don't like the result, right? You can also untest. You can roll back. This is what I mean. Because the previous program is still exist on the PLC. It didn't totally uh, be erased at step 4. All right, so you have a choice, either go forward or you can go back. All right, and step 5, that'll be they call assemble. So the old program will be erased, will be discarded, and the new program will take over. All right, so in the moment, I'm going to demo these 5 steps. Right. So on the software, you will see something right above the buttons, right above your program, right? So that's some buttons. You can look at that later on, right? So there are 2 levels. So that means you can, uh, let me get my pencil on here. So you can make changes particular to certain runs, or you can make changes to the whole routines, right? So that's what I mean by 2 levels. That means you can potentially edit more than one run in the same time. You can maybe edit 3 runs in the same time and then go over to that. All right. Use the 2 tips, right? I mentioned that several times. 2 tips, it's just something when you move your cursor to an icon. For example, if you move your cursor right now, you don't see the cursor, but the cursor right now is on this icon. Then there's a like a pop-up uh, little information gave to you to talk about what you're pointing at, right? So this is the option called finalize all edits in program. So when you take this approach, you basically skip all the 5 steps and instead using one step to directly finish everything. So you have to be careful using this one, right? So you 100% sure. Like for example, nothing will have unexpected consequences, right? For example, you are in the lab, right? In the control environment, uh, most of the time, while we are in the lab, we will probably use the finalize option. But if you're in a real uh, industry settings, you may consider to take the step-by-step approach, right? So let's move on to next slide. The other thing, when I'm doing the demo, I want you to pay attention. It's called edit zone markers. So I'll show you again what's the edit zone markers. Edit zone markers is right here. It's the right beside the wrong in the wrong number area. Right, so that's the part you need to pay attention to. All right, because they tell you something on that. Right, different letters has different meanings. All right, let's have a look. So it has two different categories. One is lowercase. The other one is uppercase. Right, lowercase, that means on the computer. It's off. It's like offline, right? You're doing that on the computer. If it's uppercase, that means it's on PLC. So this is something you need to pay attention. Right? It's very easy to uh, memorize if you do that. Right? So lowercase EIR, right? And also you will have uppercase I and R. So E, you can see that represent edit or error or something like that, right? I represent insert, right? The new program basically, right? To be inserted, right? R represent replaced. So that's the part the old program will be replaced, right? So that's the part I want you to pay attention when I'm doing the demo. All right, let's just start it on the demo on here. So let's look at this program on here. First, maybe I want to get rid of this ROM, right? So one way to do, oh, this is offline. Sorry, I should go to online. Uh, Hopefully I can get online right away. Yes, otherwise it will take a very long time, right? Remember, I didn't make any change, right? So the offline file is the same as the PLC controller. That's why I can get online so quickly, right? So probably for example, I want to get rid of this. I want to just focus on those two rounds, right? So one thing you can do is to highlight this, and yeah, that's another way to start. I said two ways, but I'm showing you the third way right now. So I'm highlighting this round number 2, right? If I press delete key, you can see here, when I press delete key, immediately that may change on there. Lowercase d. D is it's a new one. It didn't include on my slide. You can imagine delete, right? So lowercase d, that means this delete only exists on my computer. Right? So the PLC hasn't made any change yet. Right? So I'll just take this finalize option, right? So it's quicker. I do that, finalize. They give you the last warning. Do you want to do it? Click yes. Then it's gone. Right? So you can see here, right? Very quickly, it's gone, right? Without going offline. Then let's try online edit. All right. So if I highlight here, if you do it on here, you can see here start, right? So once you start, you can see immediately you have two identical copies on the run. One has green bar, the other one don't. The other one doesn't have that, right? So that means program PLC is still running this, right? So you can see the red light is off, green light is on. Same thing here, right? So if you do this, click on that, you can still see the red light on, right? So that means the old program is still running, right? So let me see here. Let's keep on here. Keep it on, then I can show you something later on. So now I can work on this copy now. right? This is on my computer. This is on the PLC. So with this, I can start to add, for example, I can add another instruction. Just click and drag, right? I want to add another exam on here. I can even create a new tag. So for example, I can call this one that's SS dash underscore one, right? So create, you can see here. So I successfully add instruction and also even add a new tag, right? But you can see here, this is still on the verification on the all the stage 3, right? So if I go to the stage on here, let's briefly talk about here, right? Previous program continue execute, right? But let me see here on here. So lowercase, right? Still on the computer. I think this is still on the second, right? Second pace, second step. So then accept, right? You can see here. Right now I verified, right? Then accept, right? So that's accept. That's accept. So once you going to accept, one thing gonna happen, the letter gonna change to uppercase, because accept, that means transfer the file into the PLC. So those gonna be replaced by capital letters on the edit zone. That's right. You can see here, capital I, capital R. I inserted, R replaced it, right? So, but we haven't do that yet, because you can see here, it's still running on the old logic, because you can see that if the new logic take effect, this one is false. The PLR should turn off, but it's still on, right? That means it's running the old logic, right? So that's the accept step. Now we can do the test. Once we go into the test, the new program that gonna take over, right? So you can see here, you can cancel, and you can test, accept, right? So this is test. So once I click test, you should see the PLR turn off according to the new logic, right? So let's try it. Click yes. You can see here, PLR red light should turn off. You can see here, turn off. And also notice the green bar switched to the new program. The old program is being cut off on here, but they still exist, right? Still exist in the PLC memory, right? Then one more step, assemble, which is the last step, assemble, finish your program on here. So once you assemble, this run gonna be gone, right? So gonna be totally erased. Let me see. You can see here you have untest, right? If you choose untest, you're gonna roll back, right? Let's try that. Yeah, you can see here, right? Roll back, the red light turn back on, right? So we can test. So we already been here. So next step, assemble. Let's try assemble, finish the 5 step. So you can see here, red light off because we add a new condition in here, right? Okay, so let's try that. So let's try green light on, right? I'm gonna demonstrate the finalize option on the second run. So first time we start with this button, right? You can also start the online edit by double clicking, right? Double click, then you will have 2 copies, right? The old one, new one, the working copy on here. So I can do a edit on here. So if you try drop here, you can see here, you cannot drop on here. You can only drop on here, right? So I'm gonna do a trick, right? So the SS, this is exam off, and I'm gonna assign to exam on. So you can imagine, right? SS can only have two values, 0 or 1. No matter which value is on the SS, there's no way you can get both instructions become true, right? So that means the green light, there's no way you can turn it on, right? So it's just temporarily block the output, right? So this time I'm not going to go through the 5 steps. I'm going to test this finalize option, right? Quickly go to the change, confirm, done. Green light turn off. Green light turn off. Yes. Right. So same thing if you want to have the red light turn back on. Right now you don't have red light turn on because of this, right? You can do a quick edit, select this, delete, then finalize. You should see the red light turn back on right away. All right. So this is just the demonstration on the online edit. All right, so you can use this safely in the lab.